Bonjour, bonsoir. Na bande konyo sont vraiment bozolanda biso na Venix TV. Oeza émission na bino Génération des Champions. Vraiment kaka nde toyaka koyebisa bino, vraiment tolingi bino mingi pe nyonso eza possible. Yozwaka décision place ozali. Po même Bible lobi eloko moko eza impossible ezate. Et toza na makasi, toza na vie, lokola tozo vivre. Espoir ezali. Vraiment nzamba pambola bino bisika toza ebele penza benga bandeko parce que ta o tozo passé eza ta moko eza très difficile. Alors tozo luka ba advice par-ci par-là pour mema biso to eba vraiment ndenge nini tokoki kovanda na bana na ba parents na ndako po tozala protéger na moment oyo ya pandémie. Vraiment nazanga moko te nazana invité nanga très spécial oyo ye moko ako se présenter ngana opese kambote akoyebisa bino azanani pe asalaka nini ye wana vraiment to présenter pe to yambi ye hello yaya.
Hello my son.
Can you present yourself please?
Hello, my name is Vanessa. I am a teacher of English in a secondary school.
OK, donc vraiment yaya na biso aza teacher ya English na secondary school awa na kati ya UK. As a professor in anglais na high school. Vraiment, Yaya, we are happy to have you in our show today. We are really, really happy because we know that you bring something new that will help us and will help every parent that are watching us today. Vraiment, tozane sengoana. Toyebi ke as a professor, yo otinda kape mwana no na classe, oyebi situation nini tozo passé na ngolelo. Peut-être yo mwana déjà pe bazong sa ki na ndako pona makambu ya pandémie oyo ba covid bazongisa bango na ndaku siko ndenge ni toko protéger bana yende azamie placé parce que azalaka kuna azalaka na bana ayebi lo lenge nini bana bazozala amemeli biso un plus de façon que parents nyonso ozwa moi quelque chose pour na bana na biso yaya penza situation eza moi mobulu na kati ya mukili. Donc we say all the world because everyone is affected today.
Yeah.
Donc everyone is affected in this time. Parce que maladie est affectée kaka UKT, but it's everywhere. Now, we need to know, how do you cope as a teacher in school?
As we cope in school as teachers, I think it's quite of a difficult situation to be in. Solely because it's more or less of a situation where you don't know who you are surrounding yourself with, you know, where the person has been or what they are doing and how you can control that sort of environment or how you can control the sort of atmosphere that's around you. But more or less, we have to just take on a professional side and we just have to go with the guidelines that have been given by the government and the sort of procedures that the school has been put in place. It's really difficult to kind of say if we are all feeling the same stage or if we're all feeling very comfortable, but we can all agree on, from the professional perspective, is that there is a sense of anxiety and anxiousness in the workplace.
Voilà, donc c'est vraiment difficile, très difficile même, bazo cope, mais il faut baza cas professionnel parce que wana eza musala bango bazo sala. Donc ngana za na translate tamino nazo interpréter pour bino vo comprendre eza très important. Vraiment benga bande konyoso yebisa bango et comme time pour na biso, vraiment biso peto cher émission na biso eza très important. Sorry penza bolimbisanga ngapela mekempe ko cher ata moi muke po mama moko pe ata za na biso te po eza kaka na UKT everywhere na bamboka nyonso toza affecté po bango pe bazala vraiment na bazwa maeli obiso tozozwa yaya na school eza ndenge nini kuna ba bino ba teacher na bana makambo nini ezoleka po biso to ba parents. We just go to Tiki Bangon to drop them in school and we come back. But what's happened there in school?
So for our school, the type of procedures and measures that we have taken place are very different to what it used to be last year, or should I say back in February or March if you were still in school. When students arrive to the school building or the school property, every year group has a different way to get into the school building. So some may take from the back route, where the car park is, some may take from the main entrance or some may take from the side entrances. And all the students have to keep themselves within their year group. So if you are in year 9, you have to stay within your year 9 area. If you are in year 7, you have to remain in your year 7 area. as it takes them from there, when you arrive into school, we all have to take on the procedure of wearing a mask and sanitize our hands on arrival. Now, that can be kind of a tricky situation only because there's some children who have difficulty breathing if they're asthmatic or they just can't seem to cope with having something in front of them for a long time. It may become difficult, and therefore we have to take into consideration that they may not be able to wearing masks all the time. In our school, we have issued loads of hand sanitizers in every sort of doorway and portal and along the corridors, just to make sure that everybody is, cleaning themselves, sanitizing themselves, and keep themselves away from any sort of germs that they may be in contact with. From that, within the classrooms itself, when students then get into the classroom, they have to take off their masks and, be within that class with 30 odd students or even 25 students, and they have to engage with the teacher, but they have to remain in their seats at all times unless told otherwise. It's very difficult for a student to be learning in such a capacity where they can no longer move around, because as teachers, sometimes we have activities where they can move around the classroom or they speak with the persons that are next to them. That is no longer acceptable in a classroom.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Donc c'est vraiment difficile, balobi tangu mwana azokoma na classe, il faut pangusa maboko na ye na sanitizer na gel wana ya nini, après alata masque na ye akoti nango, mais tangu azokoma na classe il faut alongola masque ya siko kolongola masque wana. Siko bauza 30 élèves na classe moko ezopesa maladie te na kati wana.
From a personal perspective, I believe obviously the virus can still be spread in that sort of way. But from a professional perspective, it's just a way of making sure that we are still keeping the essence of teaching. Because when we are teaching, we're not covering our mouths and not allowing, our voices to be heard or to be projected. And therefore, it can become a bit of a strange sort of atmosphere. A lot of the ways in which we as individuals and then as well as students, we're just finding it a bit peculiar. But if we can wear masks in the corridors, but why can't we wear them in the classroom? Are we not still spreading the virus? In reality, yes, you can still be spreading. However, we're just trying to minimize the contraction of the spreading of the virus, and also to make sure that we are all on the same line and we are all just following the procedure, really.
Ok, donc vraiment alobi maladi ekoki peka koya nango. Ekoki koya nango parce que il faut balongola ka masque po bazana moyen osani ya ko tangisa bana. Ozomona bana pe faut balongola ba masque po bazaka na moyen ya ko conversation. Et loko ezopesa passe ezaka ke moyen nde ya activité sala mabanini ezate. Donc maladie pe ko panzana kana batan wana. Sikoyo na moment wana bango bazana classe, peut-être maman papa zane na ndaku azana place moko za sécurisé. Mais ye na classe kuna omona tozomona bazozongisa biso bana mingi okakaka mwana bazongisaki bango classe mobimba po mwana moko azaki na covid. Sikoyo na place wana biso tosala ndeni ba parents.
In that situation, it is difficult for parents because, we are given a sort of pretense that, schools are open, all kids can return to school, and therefore it is now, quote unquote, safe. However, when a whole year group has been sent home because there may be 1 or 2 cases of coronavirus or COVID-19, where the results have turned out to be positive or negative, it's just a safety procedure, just to make sure that it cannot be spread then amongst their peers or the friends that they associate themselves with. I know it can be difficult for parents to understand that, but I want my child to go into school because when they are learning in front of a laptop, it is not the same. They're not receiving the same sort of value of education. So I prefer for them to be in school. But the reality is we're just trying to minimize of them catching that virus. So giving them the 2-week window to just see that they don't have symptoms, not being in contact with other people from their year group, and just protecting them for their own benefit.
Bon. For 2 weeks. They make sure that they don't have symptoms, nothing. So after 2 weeks, they can come back to school.
Well, they don't just go home without anything, because then we wouldn't be doing our job as teachers. We do send them off with work that they can complete online, and us as teachers, we now have a forum of actually teaching online for that particular class that we have that has the year group where they have been dismissed and been returned home. For instance, if a year 11 class has been sent home and I have a year 11 class that I need to be teaching in period 3, then on period 3, I'll be in front of my laptop without the camera on and then teaching an online lesson for students to be learning at home.
Okay. Donc, ceux qui bazong si ba nanda bazo pesa bango ba bozo pesa bango ba work.
Yes.
Ba kende ba travailler na ndako, do bazo kende pamba te. Mais sikoyo tokoye ba ndenge nini. Oboko zong sa mwana lelo. Lobi asali moi fièvre, lobi kuna moi fièvre, after 2 weeks ça commune bien. Aye classe siko bino boye ba ndenge ke ataki na ba symptômes.
Well, we do sort of welfare checks, so we call upon the parents and then to make sure that, just to see how the child is progressing at home. As well as that, we also like to make sure that if for those who have been in contact with, student X who has been given, a positive result of COVID-19, then we then advise the parents for their own child as well who has been in contact with that child to go and get a test as well, just to make sure that they are all safe. However, if it is a case of after the 2-week period, they come back into school and then they begin to show symptoms again, unfortunately, we just have to follow again that same procedure where we send them back home again for another 2 weeks until more or less the coast is clear.
Okay. Donc, ba parents bozo yoka, bazo tinda ba na ndak, ba tinda bango pamba te, ba na ba travail na bango ya classe. Donc, to make sure que biso to veiller ba na ba sala ba travail wana. To pesa bango te ke no talo kwa ba bengi sibi bazong sibino, otiki mwana vana ne na ndaku, azo sala eloko te, azana game, azana nini, omonyo ndira zwi su holiday te. Baninga bazo tanga. Soko za pe na contact na classe, ba classe na bango pe bazo tindela bango ba work online. Vandisa mwana na computer, make sure kotala ye na yete, azana ye 7 to ye 11, bango nyonso bazaka kabana, oyo fu ba travailler dur po bazo ba point malamu, ba passer nango, especially bao bazana ye 11. Il faut ba sa makasi pona ba GCC na bango ba passer bazo ba pourcentage ya malamu. Donc yo veiller sur banana yo, veiller sur entourage pe ya banana yo, et ça très important pour aider biso surtout to travailler ensemble. Siko ya na moni bana parce que wana eza onga na moni bazong sa bango na classe, bazong sa bango na ndako for 2 weeks. Bon, bavai na ndako te, bazo tambola around school. Siko school ezoloba nini pona bana modèle wana parce que ceux qui bazana réellement bazana maladie ba ko spread dango.
Well, that obviously then becomes the discretion of parents. And obviously this type of, rules that they put in place for their child. Like you said, if a child has been sent home because there has been an outbreak in their year group of COVID-19, parents, please advise your child to remain home and self-isolate. Now, as a government rule, if you have been caught outside of your self-isolation period when you should be at home and you're outside on the street, you can now be fined. That is both child and parent.
Okay.
It is now a
Yeah, omoni parti wana. Talela ngo penza caméra, mais ka ko expliquer ngo très bien. Yes, tala penza caméra expliquer ngo très bien, batu ba yo kabiso. Soko kena en anglais, ota na opena lingala. Is that très important? I know d'abord. Please, just do that. It will help mutu moko.
Okay, so if you have been sent home with the possibilities of contracting a COVID-19 case, it is impossible for you to go outside. Please do not go outside. Remain in your home and self-isolate for the 2-week period. Yes, you may have the urges to go outside, see your friends, see your neighbors, see family. However, you are then still giving them the opportunity to be contracting this virus. Stay at home, be within your self-isolation period. Do not go outside. Help us to help you. That's it.
Okay, koto na mwa mkela lingala na ko interpréter. Okay, yaya lobi boye. Please, parce que comme likambu ya kofuta mbongo. Moni. Donc ceux qui batindi mwana na ona ndaku pona 2 semaines wana azala na quarantaine de bazoloba. Please, yo veye ke mwana za na ndaku bimi e futa mbongo. Ozomona e futa mbongo e ko pesa epe ba nini ba retard pe parce que ndenga ozali banda ozwa moya kotanga. Namoni mama na biso abi otinda bana musuna ndaku bo otinda bango me bazana bango na ba internet ite na ndaku. Est-ce que bozo make sure ke bana wana bazotanga?
Yes, so that is another issue that we have faced as well as teachers.
Okay.
So when we are sending students back home, we are giving them homework booklets, exercise booklets for them to be working from, and we check it online. It is up to the child to take responsibility to take that home and keep it home. Whatever they take home, they can no longer bring back into school. So whatever they bring back at home, whatever they take from school and bring home, they keep it there at home. We're not giving laptops unless the school has the facility to be issuing laptops to certain students who we know they do not have access to IT or anything like that. However, we do urge that when we are giving out, hard copies, by booklets, the child needs to take responsibility of that and keep it at home, and they work from there. There could be an instance where, in my school, for example, every child, it's like a pack, one folder with books, pens, whiteboard pen, and they keep that in school. They only use that when they're in school time. Okay. Now, we would like to kindly urge parents, if they wish for their child to be learning very effectively at home, maybe you might want to buy them maybe a notepad or a notebook for them to begin using their time more efficiently at home.
Ok. Donc, bazo pesa bana, o baza na internet ite mama na biso pipe, vraiment bazo pesa bana ba bouclette wana ya kokena ngona ndako ba travailler na ngona ndako soki baza na internet ite. Donc bazo pesa bango ba copie ya ba work na ba papier po ba ke ko travailler na ngona ndako. Po ba école nyonso toute ezo pesa. Po ngana kendaki na école moko ko visiter na moni ba école mususu bazo pesa ba e-book. E-book ya muke bazo travailler, donc ba pesi mwana me ba lakisi ye ba tie wipes ya ko désinfecter. When it finish I put yango back in a place. Because mususu ezo sala bonga. I don't know if in your school they have it.
In our school we're only allowing that for certain students who we know for a fact that they do not have a laptop at home, they do not have the possibility of getting some sort of device to help them, even an iPad, we are giving that to them. But we can't do it for all children.
Okay. Yeah. Vraiment, maman Jetou, maman Nabiso Karine Kalo, Nzamba Pambola Bino, maman Benita, vraiment, maman Nabiso Fifi la Queen, vraiment, tozo pesa bino bambote poto lingabino tellement mingi, maman Margarita chez Eyambo, elle kine, moi ça m'a cassé oumela na yo maman, vraiment, maman Nabiso, ma chérie Mimi Mitima, ma folo, Nzamba mona yo, vraiment, to sepeli nous kebenezer, Nzamba Pambolo, maman Fifi mongemela Queen, vraiment, wana, ma collaboratrice c'est Oumela Nzamba mona yo ebele maman Mabiso teste ila maman Pipe, maman Nathalie Njonji, maman Nabiso penza Léon Enasina papa vraiment bino mbalebo Nzamba Pambola bino pena papa Nabiso Eric David vraiment tozo pe sabino merci awa toyeka kana advice parce que moment vraiment eza moi molili muke komona ke bana bazo kende classe bazo zongaka ba okomona lobby groupe ezongaki lobby kuna groupe musu ezongaki donc difficulté wana yango to mona ki to luka mutu oyo aza mieux placé ya ko expliquer biso situation wana to yeba ndenge nini pe to ko batela bana ya siko likamba kolia na classe toza na problème bana na biso bazoya kozonga okaka mami my stomach what's going on oti parce que pasi balesaki biso mbangu they will give us 30 minutes. Is that true? Yeah, just 30 minutes bazopesa bango. Alors that 30 minutes it's a long queue. And when you get your food, you don't have time. You need to eat like fast. Bala msu bazoko kakolia fast. Siko biso to sa ndenge nini vraiment.
I would highly urge, if it is a situation where your child is not eating quick enough or they don't want to wait in the long queue to get food from school, I would really like to advise and recommend that you provide your child with a packed lunch for them to take into school. So when it is time for their dinner time or their break time, they can just have something small to eat, or they can just have a longer time to enjoy with their friends, like 20 minutes instead of just 15 or 10 minutes. Because even us as teachers, we usually used to have a 45 to 1 hour dinner time period. Now it has been cut short to 20 minutes.
Oh.
In 20 minutes, it's hard. It's really hard, unless you don't have a free period where you have a 1 hour slot and you can eat then, or you can do as you wish then to make yourself a cup of tea or coffee. But it is quite of a difficult situation. I know they're kids, and I know it can be quite hard for them to talk and eat at the same time, because you know some kids don't want to talk, and then eat. But it's just something that we just have to get accustomed to, unfortunately.
Wow. Donc, eza penza, oui, les hard, eza période du moko. Peut-être yo maman ozo vivre en côté, mais ce que solo li na mwana bien, bana chaque jour bazwa na ba complain, ya koyeba maman na biso fifi alobi vraiment et comme le quoi li kelemba. Donc maman fifi alobi li kelemba. Donc le loba o ba kei, lobi ba o wala pa kokende. Donc vraiment c'est terrible, et ça pas si tozo bana bazo mona vraiment pas si en tout cas bande koto sungana. Ngana préféré boye, ngana ebité ya idée yo pesi papa mama surtout soko futa kana ombongo ezaka hard na bato baza na free school miel ozomona eza hard pona yo osalela mwana no pack lunch mais soki ofutaka nga pona ngana moni salela mwana no pack lunch parce que tant bazo bimisa bango olia kende na kiu yake kofanda alia na kimia eko ede ye ke lelo to lobi oyebi kolia mbangu lobi pe bel sabatu malade ya motema parce que biso to mona onka boya leli passe yo pe il faut lia kaka malembe lia ta muke mais eko bel sa pe mwana malade ya motema balobi awa mama na biso alobi bo to pe sabana ba work na ndako you give them paperwork but they don't have access to the information they want to work with tiko ba osandeni.
So with my school in particular, I'm not entirely sure if it's with all the other districts in the schools, but we give them, it's more like, okay, so information that they have to read, or we give them maybe like a textbook, a paper copy of what they have to go through, certain pages to do this topic and this topic, and then they have a series of questions or a writing task. Now, with that, it can be quite difficult because I know for some children, especially when I teach my year 7s, I have to point where they need to go. I have to show it on the screen, how they need to read it and what they need to think about when they, learning and stuff like that. It is quite hard because they don't have a teacher present, but that's the best that we can do. Either give them a textbook with an exercise book and then they can start figuring out how to decode things themselves, or we give them the possibility of giving them an even thicker textbook with like the text, the questions, a much more way that it's a lot easier for them to understand a step-by-step guide.
Okay, donc ya lobi ba pesa bango na ba booklet. Oyo ya ba book ya kotanga, oyo za na ba information nyonso. Ezaka ka pasi pona bano babandi secondaire school sika. Bana wana bazana mwa problème muke pourquoi parce que ba teacher fois la bango place ba okende. Mais oyo déjà ba vangi wana ba kende ti ba ye9 banani. Donc so ba pesier aibi place ni ozo information na ye. Donc yo parent kaka tozo senga veiller parce que moni makambo tozalaki na mama na biso nene coach alobaki na biso eloko moko ne bandeli mama nene nzamba pambolo penza alobaki eloko moko alobi bane bele ya année oyo année passée ba vraiment na ba GCC na bango bazwaki ba point malamu te ozomona donc soki to veiller te lelo et le same thing e kozonga pe pona lobi to komona ke bana ba passer ba classe mais ba passer na bango na baninya malamu te pesi ko yaya eloko moko eza bana nyoso bagenda classe they are oyazana ye 7 oyazana ye 8 oyazana mais na kati kuna balobi ezaka mo différent.
It is different. So in the English school system, so years 7, 8 and 9 is classed as key stage 3 and years 10 and 11 is classed as key stage 4, which is when they begin to prepare themselves for GCSE examinations. In Key Stage 3, they do not have the technicality to understand things where they can then apply it into their GCSEs because it takes a lot of time to develop. Now, with that being said, what they're being taught in year 7 is not the same of what they're going to be taught in year 8 because the skills have to be enhanced and then need to be explored in a much critical and analytical way. So more or less, in year 7, you're going to be given the basics on how to basically read a book, but understand what the author is meaning. And then in year 8, you're going to be learning how to write an essay on how you can apply the knowledge that you've learned about reading a book and analyzing it in year 7. In year 9, you're given an essay question. Okay, write what you think you understand. How then you can look at it with the mark scheme that we have to mark. And that's how we progress in every year.
Donc yaya expliquer biso ndenge na ba classe nyonso ezo travailler eza na ba classe oyo ba pesaka bazo batangisi bango et soki ba mati na classe mususu ba ke ba pesi bango ba travail ya kosala donc bazo peso nini travail na yo ba l'action ndenge nini kosala ngo pe na classe mususu ba ebisio ba lobi na travail to pesio yo moko pesa penser na yo Donc photo verra pe na babilo kwana poto mona ka mwana OK class yena back na ye adjo pango oh have you done your homework yeah I did that's it mais tozo vérifier te oh azan stage moko oyo il faut aye ba ko use makanisi na ye siko tellement biso tozo aider te na ndaku e kozala hard pona ye lobby akoka kosala ngo na ba examen na bango basalaka vraiment ça très important nzamba pambola biso yaya siko ngana ngina tuna boye to ezala bana mususu bazalaka bozala yeten bino nyos mais ya zana yeten soki nini do ya batundi ya mwa mayele muke
so the set classes well we have now begun to use where we don't have sets in year 10 or year 11 so it's all a mixed ability
okay
because we have seen in certain researches that if you put somebody for example who is a level 4 next to somebody in the class who is a level 6 or 7, they can both help each other in order to enhance their learning. Okay. And we find that instead of putting people in sort of the same category and in the same bubble where they're only going to get a level 3 or level 4, it's not really allowing them and enhancing their cultural capital. So having a mixture of different levels in the classroom could definitely enhance everybody and give them the benefit of a valuable teaching experience. So with, for example, in one of my classes, a seating plan, dans classe Banaba Vandaka, we have different age levels of different reading levels and different like abilities that they can achieve. And it just helps them with one another.
Vraiment. Donc, bazo tchabana na classe, na ba classe mususu bakabolaka. Donc, moi, no azamwa maele muke, o azamwa maele malamu, o azamwa ma likolo. Mais siko soki bakomi na ye 10, ye 11, bazo sangisa bango. Réseau eza kaka po balingi bana nyonso bazala na balance. Ozomona ezala te ke po kotia bana nyonso bazo besika moko ezomema bango penza bakita pe kaka. Ozomona me basangisa mwana maele na ezomema bango bakoma mwana balance mwa muke. Siko biso parent kende na école bana yeba pe mwana no aza na stage nini. Ozomona eloko soki pe azoni di peut-être bana mususu baza na besoin ya ba extra. Support, yeah. Par rapport ya ba capacité na ye azazo bate mais batu musu bazaka slow na learning ozomona donc azana besoin extra support siko yo parent il faut oye bango po osolo la pena école pesa na capacité ya opeso support wana to bosunga bango ndeni.
So when we offer them support, for instance, the first primary support that we go to is that every teacher always needs to know their students. So we as teachers need to do background checks to see like how the student are learning in their previous years and their previous teachers, if they have any difficulty, dyslexia, dyspraxia, SEN, pupil premium. We have to find that information out first. And then we can then issue learning support assistants, so teaching assistants that come into the classroom and they help and support the teacher, but mostly help and support the student.
Okay.
With that being said, I think that from a personal perspective, you know, as humans, the best way that, well, not the best way, but the way in which we learn is by looking at our friends or looking at the people who we surround ourselves with. And I think that when it comes to learning, especially for a student who is very weak at something, that, you know, they see their friend who is doing even better than them. They're like, oh, okay, I'm going to copy what you're doing. I'm going to take the attitude that you're having and I'm going to apply that with my learning. And then it just helps them really with their sort of mental understanding that I can try. Okay. If I try, I can progress.
Mesiko yaya na COVID oyo.
With COVID, it's a lot harder.
Yes, mama Tesla ya aza teacher na high school teacher ya English.
Yes.
Ya high school. Donc maman a besoin de poser question awa. Vraiment thank you le champion Emmanuel Sumbu. Yaya tozo zelo lisusu na plateau. Donc bonga makaka le champion biso toza la posa na yo. Merci maman la biso excellence cuisine maman Nicole to miss yo ebele. Maman la biso Pauline vraiment nzamba pambola yo. Yaya, na COVID oyo, po muninga azo learn pa muninga. Na COVID oyo, sikoyo, comme difficile na bana. Sikoyo, attitude da bana na classe. Ndenge bazo ya.
Oh, it's a big difference. The attitude that they had in February, March, it's a massive difference to what they have now. Firstly, because they know that they are going back to school with an understanding that there's a pandemic, schools may be different. We are now just going back to school for the sake of it. And secondly, they have missed out a lot of their previous year. So I was explaining to my year 9 class who are now in year 10, sorry, to my year 10 class who are in year 9, that you have missed approximately, I believe it is 7 months of your education in your previous year. That's a lot of months.
Yeah.
A lot of learning that you have missed out, that you have to catch up on. And it's difficult for them as well as teachers because we have to break things down for just the important things and teach them. And then their attitude becomes like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that.
Too much.
It's too much for them because they're not understanding it as of yet. But we do encourage them to try heavily and to really just adopt a much more positive attitude.
Sikoyo, ba parents. Po omoni eza difficile na bango. Tozo zo ba complain wana biso so bana bazo ke class that they are learning a lot. Ozomona. Do baza on dirait really busy. They don't have time for themselves like a break omoni for a long time. They can mix with friends. Ezo sa bango déjà le kwa moi mutu ezo soir. Ozomona. Sikoyo, how we as a parent can help them?
I would highly recommend that, as a parent, to just keep your child in a positive space. So to just keep on reminding them that, you can get through this. You can do this. Give yourself time. Give yourself time to understand the situation. Give yourself time to understand the kind of environment in which you're in. And give yourself time to really step back and look at what you have to achieve, because you don't want to leave school with X, Y, and Z. And you want to be able to achieve something great. As a parent, I can understand that it can be quite difficult because you are trying to, support the school and what they're doing, but also you really want to support your child and to make sure that they're okay. So I would just highly recommend support them and just keep on reassuring them that everything is going to be okay. And we are both, child and parent, are working on it together.
Ok, vraiment, en tant que parents, tu aider bango période déjà difficile. Ebele par rapport à ya année o eleki. Donc année o bazotanga ebele, bazozwa timing ya kotanga oyo ke vraiment to support bango ata ba ye fatigué na ndaku talisa eke eza possible akoki ko salango parce que comme maina négativité na ndaku parce que tant vraiment eza déjà ko traumatiser ba ebele. Ozomona. Donc tozo risqué na end of this year erba bazo si ça ba nebele ba kota na ba traumatisme parce que bazo zo ebele mais bazo zo tenter ya ko relax. Ozomona. A deux fois tozalaki bana bazui mo congé beboke mo holiday. Basakani mo mutu ebi mu pepe. Mais sikoyo we still in the same place. We can't go anywhere. Ozomona. Donc mix with the friend even at home it's very difficult. Sikoyo donc to aider vraiment est important. Yaya balobi na école bana bazana social distance. So what the meaning of farming like if you they see oh my God.
Social distancing in certain schools, it can be quite redundant. Redundant is basically meaning that it is non-existent, and we cannot be in control of that, unfortunately.
Yes.
You can imagine in a classroom of 30, even though there are so many tables and chairs, your child is still going to be sat next to somebody else in less than a meter space. That's just the reality of a school. As much as, the government would like to put into place so many things that we can do, in a school, it is very limited. It is very limited. As much as we would like to open up bigger workspaces, but you can imagine in a massive hall with, say, for example, 50 kids and one teacher. We're going back to the Victorian times here on how they used to teach. We no longer teach in a sort of formal fashion. We have to make sure that we apply and adopt what we know now and put it into perspective that there's only certain limitations. Yes, we wear masks. Yes, we sanitize. But social distancing, even on the corridors, it's just redundant, honestly.
En tout cas, sorry, para social distancing is an école. Donc, toi, acceptant bongo, yangwana prévention malamu, ya opesa biso na suka, ya bazo tuna balobi opesa ka extra nini na ye 11.
So like intervention. And we're doing school, but we haven't yet put that into
like
place.
Yourself, if someone wants you to teach.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Maman na biso e yambo donc réponse na yo ozu penza. Yeah, we know it's really hard this year. It's vraiment hard. Merci mingi na maman na biso. Arlette c'était là vraiment. Nzamba pambolo maman Mimi. Yalala inika sonjar. Nzamba pambola yo. Mama Georgette Singindu, Zamba Pambola yo penza, balobi nanga awa, bakitisi ba air na bana ya classe, bana mususu bakitisi ba air na bango, tondegene. Because I know some high school they was finishing at
3:15,
3:15,
and now we finish at 2:30.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on how the school infrastructure in your, your local authority or in your local area, what the school has decided to adopt. So in my school in particular, we have separated the times that every year group leaves. So usually the end of the school day for students will be 3:15, but at 3:15, the year 7 go. 3:20, the year 8 go. 3:30, the year 9 go, and then all the way to 2:45, okay, and then the year 11 go. So we haven't reduced the time that the students are learning, but we're just allowing them to understand that whenever a year group goes home, it has to be at a particular time period, just to separate social distancing from every other year group.
Yeah, siko wana bolobi bo dimne ba air. Reducing the time, but you still give them more work to do.
Yeah, because they have to catch up.
Oh my God. Wow.
You've missed out on 7 months. You have to catch up with that. It's not our responsibility, it's your responsibility, more or less.
Oh, ok. Donc, vraiment, responsabilité, tout supporter, maman Fifi Alobi, this year, bisonyo soka tozo struggle.
Yeah.
Donc, we need to make kakaka, to kokanabiso, nanzambe, tout est possible. Na génération des champions, tout est possible. Donc, possibilité, ezakaka, torbi mananzela wana. Eza très important. Mama Penda Eyambo, contact naye okozwango, inbox, nzambe, a pambola yo, mingi. Yaya sikoyo, bana bazouta class, baina ndako. What the first thing they need to do when they go home or when they are in car face? Because we are picking them there, you drop them and pick them
up. Yeah. The first thing I would say, if they are being picked up with a car with their parent, the first thing to do is to hand sanitize. Definitely try to minimize the germs that you are taking from school and bringing it into the car, which you can imagine is a family car, mom, dad, younger brothers or older brothers and sisters. So first thing is make sure you have a hand sanitizer in your car or, some antibacterial wipes. Wipe your hands, wipe the door handle just to minimize any sort of spread. Once you get home, hand and soap and water is your best friend. Wash your hands. Wash your hands, take off your uniform, and then can proceed and maybe, drinking hot tea or having a shower or seeing what your parents put in place for you to minimize the spread being spread around in your home.
Donc, parents penza tozo ba précaution de yaya lobi tangu mwana ozo zoyer na classe oza na voiture. Make sure oza na antibacteria wipes na yo to gel no ya ko ya désinfectant na voiture.
Yeah.
Pourquoi? Parce que ba bacteria bazo utanango libanda bazo kota na voiture eza ya famille. Alors to minimiza ngo mwa mukie na ko sala mwa procédure wana. Tangu mwana zo kota na ndako. First thing to do, soki omelaka mai ya moto. Soki posalaka bango tia moto. Procédure wana salango. Soki pe mwa vix opakola, yo sala kaka oyo omona ke ekwede bana na yo. Parce que obligation ezalaka te. Mais oyo omona ke na fona sala pona ede bana na nga lobi bazongisa bango na ndako te. Omoni bana musu bazongisa bango na ndako ezaka po muninga belaki. Mais ya biso bazongisa bango te po yenda beli. En tout cas wana biso moko futo zo ba précaution, eza très important, eza vraiment très important. Baniforme ya bana, tangu bazouta classe. Ya yo pesa biso advice mukolobi. Surtout bato bazolata ba blazer.
So if a student, for example, just has one blazer, parents, please buy them another blazer, just so that they can have an opportunity to put the other one in the washing machine whilst they wear the other one, and to stop minimizing of, bacteria in their clothing. It is really important also when they arrive home to take off their uniform straight away. Take off their uniform that they have worn that day and then put it in the laundry basket to be placed into the wash and do it like that. I know it may seem like a lot of work for a parent to be, disinfecting their clothes and washing clothes all the time. However, I do it. I'm a teacher. I never wear the same clothes twice in 1 week. I always change, only because you don't know what you could be carrying on your clothes.
Vraiment, c'est très important. Et à l'objet, ceux qui m'ont na blazer, moko veste, moko bana biso baza high school, parents, sala sacrifice ako somba mususu. Po aider kaka mwana, soka uti classe alongoli, acha na wash machine, po alata mususu lobi po to minimiser kaka bactérie wana malade ezali eza sérieux vraiment po aider biso baniforme bana auti nango classe tango mbala moko eza nango musala ebele toyebi mama fifi alobi na biso ane o biso so tozobunda na ka po to vivre donc so eza ane moko eza différent ya ba ane nyonso na toleka na étape po te mais lokwa tozoleka ngo en tout cas totelema tozala balésité tozala makasi eko aider biso vraiment mama na biso ya mbalobi ba parents na ane oyo bana ye 11 baza stressé pardon toteki easy na bango yaya advice non parent moko azotala biso how to treat especially ye 11 you know they are going through JCC they are going through work too many work bazosala now make up advice bango
for those parents who have a child who's in year 11 or even in year 10 actually I just want you to take into account what has happened for the previous year 11 students and college students that have just left in 2020. So obviously we have heard that they didn't receive either the best result that they wanted or they were given a rationalized score on all of their GCSEs or examinations based on their postcodes and things like that. And a lot of the students were not happy. We are trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. So therefore, year 11s, they have a lot of work to do solely because we want them to leave. If they are predicted a really good prediction grade, for example, a level 8 or 7 or 6, we are really trying to make sure that they leave home, not leave home, sorry, but they leave school with that particular grade. We don't want them to be then turning back thinking, I wish I had tried extra hard, or I wish I did this, or I wish I did that. Instead of having that wishing persona, do the work now so that later you can reap your benefits. So really work hard now so that in the next few months to come, if there is a sort of situation that we have in the previous time happen again, at least you can feel more confident knowing that you have a very stable or very well looked after predicted grade.
Vraiment. Donc, yaya lobi to travailler erangoyo. Au lieu to lala, pour lobi to regretter que moi na zui ba grade à malamu te. Mais to travailler de façon que lobi to buka ya malamu pour aider biso na bana na biso. Vraiment eza bien papa na maman na biso s'occuper papa Maurice Lengo Monzambe apambola yo. Vraiment le pasteur Maurice papa, que Dieu vous bénisse, vraiment. Donc, avant professeur, il y a mathématiques, pasteur Maurice, il y a église la restauration. Vraiment, azopé sabana cour, vraiment, azopé sa cour, il y a kitoko malamu, pe bien, aza understanding. Et à la moine, no, aza na problème, il y a learning disability. Don't worry. Ce qu'on a besoin d'improve. Bangate yé aza spécialisé côté wana benga ye akoide yo. Merci papa Zambe vraiment a pambola yo makasi biaya sikoyo na moment oyo covid eza nango ezotambola ozomona na ba classe pe ezotambola vraiment na moni mama na biso tout bi est-ce que il faut qu'on uniforme every day.
Not every day. We're not saying to do it every day because that can be a bit of a workload for a parent. But every 2 days, change the uniform at least. Because, sometimes with the bacteria, it can last upon a surface. I mean, I'm not a science specialist, but from what I understand of the procedures that they put in place is that, bacteria can last or stay on top of a surface for 48 hours. So every 48 hours, change skirt if you're a girl, change trousers if you're a boy, wear your other blazer and just keep that momentum going.
Yeah, parce que bana mingi bazo
especially on buses. Yeah. Camarade na bango. Come on.
Donc bazola lelana okokozwa to sukoli yango te mais a changer la tamususu wana otango sika mupepezali pona ekota quand même mupepe po aider na baniforme même bana na biso mikie vraiment soko monique surtout ba jampa na bango ya primary school o monique ko sokola jampa te don't worry mama tango place à mupepe changer ende jampa po lobby aider yo aider pe to minimiser quand même malade yango écoutez la biso pe belete la kata communauté vraiment eza très important nzamba pambolo ya batindeli yo ba message ba lobby God bless you peda bozabat God bless you pour un message na yo sikoyo tozo keneno kana likambo bana parce que bana na biso ya 11 yaya tozala soka na covid mena kota na kote wana mwanda kote wana bino bozo sunga biso ata mukete tozala kina mama Winnie awa mama Winnie la championne hier aza hard working zamba pambola yo tozala kine awa a expliquer biso quand même nde bana bazo ponaka ba subject ko sala na classe mais yaya kuma bana na biso bazo kendaka na ba gym kuma bana biso bazo kendaka ka o pays o kakako ngana ponaki pays na ponaki nini. Pourquoi?
I think when it comes to that sort of choice, when they are choosing their options and they just want to say do PE, if I put myself in the mind of a student back then, you know, 10, 11 years ago, it's probably just because they are thinking to themselves, it's easy. I can do that. I can get a good grade in this subject, so let me just choose it. But they're not really thinking about the long run. They're not thinking about in the 2 years, you know, to come, or the 3 years to come, that, oh, because I didn't choose science and I want to be a doctor in university, I needed to have done my physics, my chemistry, and the other one that I don't know in high school. So they're not thinking about that. They're just, for the majority of them, they're thinking about what they like and what it is that they just want to get either an easy grade in. And they just choose it.
Like you see a child who's working very hard. Yeah, but you can just help you. You know what? By the way you are working, I prefer for you to do this and do that.
We do give them advice. We really do. I mean, I definitely do, especially with my students. I tell them the reality of things, because even when I was in school, there were certain things that I didn't understand, and I had to really ask, you know, my older sisters or brothers or my older cousins to just give me a much more clearer perspective. And we give them advice. It's up to them to take it. You know, we cannot be in control of what they want to choose. And also at the same time, what the school do provide them, we have to balance it out with the core subjects. So I work in a very, you know, a religious school, a Catholic school. So we have to do maths, English, science, a modern foreign language, as well as RE. So all students have to go home with a RE GCSE. So it's just a matter of what is the balance of what they're already learning and what it is that they can choose on top.
Donc vraiment eza ba pesa na bango pas advice ya lobby et mo biso pe to kanisa wrong me ba pesa ka me bana banika ka place easy et lobby nango les champions Emmanuel Sumba lobby ba kendaka na sport pour na easy money pour bana so ba di easy money. They don't want to work.
They don't like working hard.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen a lot of students now, they don't like to work hard. But one thing that they're forgetting is that you reap what you sow. So if you want easy money now, then what's going to come in the long run? There's an African proverb that I do like to tell my students is, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. Work with yourself, work with your partners, and learn how to, you know, work and do the hard work now in order to progress in the future. Don't go the quick route. It's not good.
Okay, mama people, let's bloom together. Donc so okay yo moko, okay no mbango eza problème te. Mais soko lindo kendende musika. Zala na batu. Donc travailler na batu eza très important. Yaya, siko gouvernement bino batu boza na domaine ya teaching wana. They don't have like any idea to close the school so the children they can stay home and learn at home.
I'm not too sure what is going on with that, because obviously if I'm sure people are having any assumptions that, you know, we may go back into a second lockdown, but the question is, will schools remain open? That we do not know. We honestly do not know.
Okay. Donc, ba école ezalaka ka open pour bana bakendaka. Donc bazo éviter pour bana baza na bandako. Raison eza nini parce que toujours ba maladie eza. Ozomona ba business kutu ezokanga. Mais siko bana bakendaka classe, moi te que ça me perd un petit peu et ça bango ba trouble. Especially the primary school one.
If kids still have to go to school, which they are now, I mean, ask yourself the question, over the time period that we have been in lockdown for, you know, 6+ months, have they been working effectively at home? Have they been learning at home? Have they been doing the same sort of studying that they would do in school at home? Even though we have offered them, you know, the face-to-face and contact in school, have they still been adopting that at home? Because it's the situation that we are in now that we have to make everything viral and online. And of course, when you're at home, you're in your pajamas in front of the TV and your laptop is there, you're trying to work, but are you really learning in that same environment? Because home is home, school is school, work is work. So can you really try and adopt those sorts of like mentality and apply it in a place where you're supposed to be relaxing and being comfortable?
Okay. Donc, vraiment, yaya lobi, Tomi Tuna. Maman bebel, yo mtolobi.
Sorry.
Bakanga na bango ba klasi. Tomi Tuna. Est-ce que ndenge wana babanda ki na ndako na temps oyo? Est-ce que bazala ki vraiment kotanga malamu? Parce que home eza place ya ko relax. School eza place ya kotanga, musala eza place ya kosala. Donc différence wana ezali. Siko okoki mwana koki ko adopter penza mentalité ya kotanga na place où il faut relax azana TV na ye azana nini. It's really hard. To sala ango na mwata muke, mais na tangu nyonso eza really hard. Pe ba nebele ba se retrouver batangi te na moment où yaya siko bomoni différence.
Yes.
Par rapport ya ndenge to taki na lockdown.
Yeah.
You give some children the work to do at home.
Yes.
But when they come back, did you see any different like or they are
big difference, big difference. Not to say that, you know, they've become, some students, they have definitely been learning at home in their own time, which is great. Those students, thank you so much for, you know, valuing your education. But when those students who come back, they're like, oh, miss, I don't know what this words mean. I don't know how to do this. Well, did you study when you was at home? Did you actually use the time that we were giving you to be doing your learning at home? Oh, no. Well, whose fault is that then? Because we can only provide you with the information at this current moment, provide you with the information, the resources that you need. It's up to you to be responsible and learn and adapt to be much more studious at home. Okay. We cannot control that, unfortunately. And I have seen, honestly, I have personally seen the vast difference of those who have been, you know, valuing their education and they know the current situation that we're in, and those who are like, yeah, I'm at home, I'm with my friends, I'm going to go out to the park, or when I get back to school, my teacher's going to help me then. We too, we have to do a lot of work. And it's not fair for us to then be solely taking responsibility and making sure that you have been caught up when you've been given enough months to do the work. It's not fair.
Oh, okay. Donc, makambo yo eza matata. Ba parents tous ont responsabilité parce que tozo pe sape ba teacher ba travail ebeli. Donc bango bazotanga yango eza malamu. Nga penza vraiment mama bisiko zali papa ozolanda biso betata mwa maboko pona ya Vanessa. Faut vraiment to betata maboko parce que eza facilité. Vraiment eza facilité parce que tozo pesa bango pe hard work. Eza malamu tozala na bango ba oyo bazana kati likambo tolo bango mingi. Bazana kati po ba memelaka biso ba nouvelle de façon que emema biso bato toza libanda toyeba ndenge nini tokoki ko collaborer na bato akati. Donc soki bango bazate biso toza ba aveugle. Ozomona na kati kuna toza ba aveugle na basourd. Na tozomona te tozoyoka pete. Mais lokwa bango baza misu na biso baza pe matoi na biso. Donc bango bazoyoka ba memeli biso. Yangwana eza très important. Vraiment na zone dimake ba parents belé baza na posa bana na bango ba travailler. Mais problème na biso za na communauté tozaka penda na bato ko sunga te. Ko sunga bana. Siko bino boza wana, boza ba chicha pe boze belé, boza pe bataba yele pe boze belé. Boza pe bato bolingi pe makambo classe pe ebelé. Ozomona le champion Emmanuel Sumbu ozoyoka yaya. Donc vraiment toza ebelé. Alors yaya est-ce que beaucoup qui peut s'organiser? Look at our community, how our children are growing up. But they grow up like they don't want to do anything hard. They don't want to try hard. They don't want to work hard. Just all they want, like, I want to be a footballer. I want to be this. I want to be that. But they don't want to work. Est-ce que beaucoup peuvent vendre le cola bino timi moko bosali pona ko help de façon que communauté na biso pe koma makasi?
Well, I would definitely look into that because I think that as young people, especially from, you know, the vast Congolese young people that I know and who are watching this, as well as our friends, we know that we have a lot of work to do in order to raise ourselves. But there are also people out there who are already putting things in place. For example, like Daniel Sukula with the Be the Best CIC in Bolton. Honestly, big brother, congratulations to you. Yes, you are making a massive difference in this community. There's also some homework clubs back in Bolton. You know, there's other people, for example, and the Initiative Manchester, an organization that my friends have now built in, where they are helping, you know, independent schools and, you know, families to be coming together and helping one another out. I think it would be really good for you know, individuals like myself and people who I know I can associate myself with to do like a conference for young people to understand, you know, where they're going with their lives and what they want to do and how they can work towards that. I know some of us are very talented, for example, singing, playing football. You know, there's so many young people that I have seen today in our community who are just progressing massively with their football career, but they want to get themselves involved in the drinking, the going out. You want to spend money like as if, you know, you're this rich person already. Yes, it's okay to, you know, adopt the mentality, but you need to understand that how far is that money going to let you go? How far is your talent going to let you go if you're going to keep on surrounding yourself with the people that are not influencing you? So I think that definitely I'll speak with my peers and we can try and organize a conference because that would be something worthwhile. For our community, it'll be worthwhile.
Vraiment, donc c'est très important. Ba yaya ba aider biso na bana ba comprendre parce que na communauté na biso bana balingi omoni jeune fille moko bisinga lobi alobi Congolese bana na biso ba congolais when they are growing up bazana ndaka ba parents they don't eat Congolese food, you know.
Oh, okay. I did.
But when they grow up abali akomi na ndaku na ye akomi koluka pondu akomi madesu. Siko le problème c'est quoi? Because they don't want to work hard. Ezoko mapasi. Ozomona. Donc yango wana please bo help biso ko bana na biso mingi bazoko understand it. They are just copycats.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was about to say also, I think maybe sometimes because of our community, you know, you know, so I don't eat pondu, oh, what's that? Oh, mbisi boy. Like, but it's your culture. Accept your culture. The Nigerians, they're Nigerians, but they love being Nigerian. The Ghanaians, likewise, Jamaicans also. Why is it that I find with many Congolese young people today, they're like, oh, yeah, oh, but I'm Congolese, oh, we do. You know, accept your truth, accept your identity. That's who you are. Yes, we know back home in Congo, there's a lot of issues that we may not like and we may be disagreeing with, but that's who we are. And we are very well-loved, respected individuals. We really are.
Okay. Donc, yaya, siko na lobi boy. Congolese. Ba India, namona bango. Parce que na sali pe na bango, bo kende, msusu akeko tika bilo kwa kolia na class pona dina ya mwana ne. Asali atepenga na bol aketika bo Congolese even rice and chicken. My God, I was thinking about that one day. Was complaining about how they are eating in this time. I was thinking about that. I spoke with Mama Fife, was like, what's going on? They can bring food also in school, but why they don't? But India, they can bring their food, their mom cook and they put in the bowl, they bring it to school.
Honestly, I really don't know what to say to that. It might be just an issue of our food smells funny, but it tastes good. I'm just saying. Or it could just be because they're not familiar with our cuisine, our Congolese cuisine that we love and admire so much, like Gwanga and Fumbo and, you know, all of those. Maybe they're just not accustomed to that sort of thing. Maybe, I don't know. We're just not accustomed to it. Me personally, I bring my rice, I bring my pundu, and I bring my chicken. And all my colleagues ask me, oh, Vanessa, what are you eating? And I tell them this is my African food. Only because I don't always like to eat sandwiches. If I have food left over from last night, I'm going to bring that in for my lunch the next day because I know it'll still be edible. It's just the way things is. I don't feel ashamed by it. That's just what we have to eat at home. It's my culture, it's my nurturing, it's our responsibility to educate people about stuff like that.
Vraiment. Donc, Nzambe penza za lokumu. En tout cas, tozana esengo na bino nyoso bozana line. Vraiment esengo na biso eza. We love you so much. Tozana posa vraiment ko satisfaire bino na Venix TV Life Changing Channel. Tozana posa bozwa knowledge. Tozana posa bo comprendre, bo understand. De façon que lobby ensemble vraiment to bloom together. Biso nyoso to fleurir ensemble elongo na bana na biso to mona mwana mokote akezonga sima. Bana nyoso ba fleurir ensemble. Et kozala vraiment lipamboli yango to elibino génération des champions yango to yelibino inika soljar yango to yelibino boyebi to yelibino mama nene coach Nabiso to elibino Maman Nicole Beauté Santé, pe to elibino makambo libala, to elibino les chemins de l'éternité, to elibino ya Isape papa labiso David, donc Zambe a pambola bino ebele, tozan esengo vraiment, bon s'abonner massivement. Na Venix TV, bon s'abonner, vraiment kende na YouTube, tiens moi j'aime wana et ça la bien, pour ta chère émission, pour aider batu mususu. Peut-être mutu mususu ayebite, moi na nope nanda kwa yaka, alela kateke monte ma pasi mazo souffrir na kati. Ozomona, mais soki yo sololi na ye, akoyebiso ma mesaka nga pasi poto, zondia mbangu na classe. Et ko aider yo, soki yo futa kambongo na classe, maman advice a monene, ça la pack lunch, moi na mema na classe, et ça très important. Et nzambe wana akopambola biso, yaya mot de la fin, vraiment, fait ça na bato, oyo zanango, pour ba parents, pe bana ba yo kabiso.
Okay, so my final words to both parents and children is that to just please follow the guidelines that have been given. It is a generic guideline, but it's there to protect you as well as ourselves. And to my students, please, 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 do not be, keeping in contact physically, holding your friends' hands or holding or linking the people around you. Do be cautious. That same person that you are linking next to, unless they are your sibling, they are your friend, they do not go back home with you. They go to their separate homes. We don't know what they might be carrying or what they might be contracting along that time, as well as to just have a positive mind, keep positive, be smiling, and just know this will too shall come to an end.
Be positive because it's possible. May God bless you. Bye-bye.
Wow. Oh, hi, Natalie.
Oh, hi.
How are you?
How are you? I'm good.
Okay, do you remember the as well?
I just found out, not long ago.
See the stuff?
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Very amazing.
I'm so impressed.
Smoking steak, fresh steak,
Literally.
chicken. I saw some fish there because I love fish.
Are you sure?
Oh my God.
Show me because I'm actually, they've even got chicken.
Look at that one. Everything is full.
Oh my God. Wow.
20, great Chittenden Street.
Oh yeah.
Salford.
Food, and they open from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if you're surrounded by the area, please come and shop.
Great.
Also on Sundays, more shop closed on Friday on Sundays, but you've already opened from 10
a.m.
to 4
p.m.
And the quantity is a lot as well.
Amazing
So
quantity, amazing price.
What kind of fish is this?
Wow, croaker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yellow croaker.
Yellow croaker.
Yeah.
I should probably try this.
It's just amazing. Look at that. There's chicken there, chicken legs. You love chicken legs. All the veg are there. And the amazing thing is they're opening the beauty upstairs where they can sell products.
Oh, yeah, the owner was saying, they have so much to offer.
So much choice.
So much to offer.
Everything. There's even pondu for Congolese people.
Matembele, I saw matembele as well.
BC, everything's down there. Amazing.
Like, if you look around, the meat as well, the range of meat is really, really amazing. So
and fresh, you can tell.
Fresh as well. So we can't go wrong. I just love it. I'm really, really loving it.
Right, for black people out there, give a hand to our brother.
Definitely. Support the black business.
Black business.
Exactly.
This is the time.
This is the time.
This is the time. We need to stand up.
We need to stand up, definitely. Wow, amazing. Around, obviously talking about a desk shop. We've got the car parking space. You can tell for yourselves. They have a great capacity to, accommodate many cars. So if you follow me, as you can see, they've got a few customers around here. This is basically the car parking space, and yeah, you're welcome to come at any time. Again, it's at number 320 Great Chittenden Street in Manchester. So just between there's a McDonald's. As you go past the McDonald's, you'll find the shop at the end. It's called Edes. Hopefully we get to see you. Like we said, it's a black owned shop. So let us support the business for our black people. And yeah, this is pretty much all I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, like again, you can see